In the late 19th century, the island of Zanzibar held immense strategic importance. Situated off the coast of East Africa, it was a vital trading hub, controlling lucrative routes for spices, ivory, and enslaved people. This economic power attracted the attention of European colonial powers, particularly Britain and Germany. By the 1880s, British influence in Zanzibar had grown significantly. Through a series of treaties and agreements, the Sultanate effectively became a British protectorate, though nominally independent. This arrangement allowed Britain to exert control over the island's foreign policy and defense, while maintaining the facade of local rule. However, this delicate balance was constantly threatened by internal politics and external rivalries. Germany, a rising colonial power, also harbored ambitions in East Africa, occasionally challenging British dominance. The succession to the Sultanate was a particularly sensitive issue, often manipulated by the British to ensure a compliant ruler. The stage was set for conflict in August 1896 with the sudden death of Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini. Hamad had been a pro-British ruler, carefully chosen to uphold their interests. His demise created a power vacuum, immediately exploited by a rival claimant to the throne. Khalid bin Barghash, Hamad's nephew, saw an opportunity to seize power. He was known for his anti-British sentiments and his desire to restore Zanzibar's full independence. His actions would directly challenge the established order and British authority. Khalid swiftly occupied the Sultan's palace with his supporters, proclaiming himself the new Sultan. This move was a direct violation of the 1886 agreement, which stipulated that any new Sultan must be approved by the British consul. The British viewed this as an act of rebellion and a grave threat to their regional hegemony. The British response was immediate and unequivocal. Rear Admiral Harry Rawson, commanding the British naval squadron in Zanzibar, issued a stern ultimatum to Khalid bin Barghash. He demanded Khalid's immediate abdication and the surrender of the palace. Khalid, however, refused to comply. He believed he had sufficient support from his own forces and perhaps underestimated the resolve of the British. He began fortifying the palace, assembling a force of approximately 2,800 men, including palace guards, armed civilians, and even a few hundred former enslaved people. His defenses included several artillery pieces, notably a bronze 17th-century cannon and a few Maxim machine guns. He also possessed a single-armed yacht, the Glasgow, anchored in the harbour. This show of defiance only hardened the British position. British diplomatic efforts to persuade Khalid to stand down proved fruitless. Consul Basil Cave and General Lloyd Matthews, the first minister of the Zanzibar government, repeatedly warned Khalid of the dire consequences of his actions. Their pleas were met with unwavering resistance. As the deadline approached, British warships took up strategic positions in Zanzibar harbour. The cruisers HMS Philomel, HMS Rush, and HMS Raccoon, along with the gunboats HMS Thrush and HMS Sparrow, trained their guns on the palace. Their presence was a clear signal of the overwhelming force Britain was prepared to unleash. The ultimatum expired at 9 a.m. on August 27, 1896. With no sign of Khalid's surrender, the British commander gave the order to commence hostilities. The stage was set for a confrontation that would etch itself into the annals of military history, not for its scale, but for its astonishing brevity. At precisely 9:02 a.m., the British warships opened fire. The bombardment was devastatingly effective, focusing primarily on the Sultan's palace and its immediate defenses. The sheer firepower of the British fleet was unmatched by Khalid's hastily assembled forces. The palace, largely constructed of wood, quickly began to crumble under the barrage of shells. Khalid's artillery, though present, was largely ineffective against the armoured British vessels. A few shots were fired from the palace, but they caused no significant damage. One notable engagement occurred between the British gunboat HMS Thrush and Khalid's armed yacht, the Glasgow. The Glasgow, despite its armament, was no match for the modern British warship. It was quickly sunk, its crew abandoning ship. Khalid's forces, caught in the open or within the collapsing palace, suffered heavy casualties. The bombardment was relentless, designed to break resistance swiftly and decisively. The British strategy was one of overwhelming force, minimizing any prolonged engagement. The terrain, a relatively flat coastal area dominated by the palace, offered little cover for Khalid's defenders. The harbour provided the British fleet with an unobstructed line of fire, allowing them to deliver precise and continuous shelling. The battle was a stark demonstration of naval power against land-based, ill-prepared defences. Within minutes, the palace was ablaze, and the resistance from Khalid's men began to falter. The coordinated attack left no doubt about the outcome. The disparity in military technology and training was simply too vast for Khalid's forces to overcome. The British bombardment ceased at 9:40 a.m. The entire engagement had lasted a mere 38 minutes, making it the shortest war in recorded history. The immediate results were catastrophic for Khalid bin Barghash and his supporters. The Sultan's palace was largely destroyed, a smoldering ruin. Estimates of Khalid's casualties vary, but they were significant, ranging from 500 to 2,800 killed or wounded. The British, by contrast, suffered only one casualty, a petty officer wounded on HMS Thrush. Khalid himself managed to escape the palace as it collapsed around him. He fled to the German consulate, where he was granted asylum. This act of diplomatic protection prevented his immediate capture by the British. With Khalid neutralized, the British swiftly installed the preferred candidate, Hamad bin Mohammed, as the new Sultan. Hamad was a compliant ruler, ensuring the continuation of British influence and control over Zanzibar. This territorial change, though not a direct annexation, solidified Britain's protectorate status. The impact on relations between Britain and Germany was minimal, despite Khalid's asylum. Germany, recognizing the overwhelming British dominance in Zanzibar, did not press the issue. The incident served as a clear demonstration of British imperial power in the region. The war effectively ended any serious challenge to British authority in Zanzibar for the remainder of their protectorate. It underscored the futility of resisting a technologically superior colonial power. The swiftness of the victory sent a clear message across the empire. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, despite its brevity, holds significant historical importance. It stands as a stark example of gunboat diplomacy and the overwhelming military superiority of European colonial powers in the late 19th century. It demonstrated how quickly and decisively an imperial power could enforce its will. For Zanzibar, the war marked the definitive end of any real sovereignty. The installation of Sultan Hamad ushered in an era of direct British administration, leading to significant social and political reforms, including the eventual abolition of slavery on the island. The island's destiny was now firmly intertwined with the British Empire. The conflict also serves as a unique case study in military history. Its record-breaking duration makes it a subject of fascination for military enthusiasts and historians alike. It highlights the devastating effectiveness of modern naval artillery against unprepared defenses. Beyond its military aspects, the war is a poignant reminder of the power dynamics of the colonial era. It illustrates the often brutal methods employed by imperial nations to secure and maintain their interests, regardless of local aspirations or claims to self-determination. The story of the 38-minute war continues to intrigue. It is a testament to a pivotal moment when a small island nation, attempting to assert its independence, was swiftly and decisively brought back under the heel of a global empire. Its legacy resonates as a symbol of imperial might and the rapid transformation of global power structures.